Welcome back.
Just you know what? I'm so excited to have had a night's sleep in my own bed. Number one, number two, the fact that we have an amazing huddler in the hot seat today. An old friend comes back to visit, and I'll leave it to him to share how we met and how we've managed to maintain this relationship. But I'm fired up. I'm here. I have one more speaking gig today, so that'll be 3 this week.
You will be at Grand Oaks this afternoon or late this morning?
I will be where they filmed Caddyshack. I'll have 50 membership directors who have all bought my book and want to hear how to get better 1% every day. So all good. I must tell you, son, and I love you, and I think we've had some great times together. The time I spent with Jake over the last 2 days was incredibly impactful.
That's awesome.
Get the ability. I didn't get to spend this kind of time with you when you were 25. Didn't.
No, I was somewhere else.
Right. Life didn't afford me that opportunity. Life afforded me the opportunity to watch him develop in my, right in my face. And he's not always the most talkative, but he has really opened up. He is really developing his voice, his style. I think he's really charged up about his role in the company. So I'm out of my mind.
Yeah. I mean, he's look, like to have to grow up in this family sucks, because the standard and expectation is high. And, I think it's a lesson for everybody who's dealing with young people in their organization is you have to offer them the time and the runway to develop. And, watching him grow just over the last 12 months has been really exciting to see him kind of find something that he's passionate about and really start to dial into his own routine and start to really get, passionate about some stuff that he's doing. So I'm super glad that you guys got to have that time over the last 3 days. I'm glad that he had a great birthday. What a great time in Vegas. The food and pictures and everything looked absolutely ridiculous. So it's awesome stuff.
You hit on something that's so relevant. I don't think companies give people the runway to get into it. It's always throw the book at them, and then expectations are high. We had the luxury of allowing him to be around it. Just be around it. And, Jake and I had this conversation about how do you get better? You just hang around, You just be there, you be present, you listen, you watch, and then one day it just clicks and you go. So final shout out is to our friends at the Tao Hospitality Group. Man, did we eat some food. Tuesday night when I got in, we went right over to Tao, which was in the Venetian, and food galore. We just did right, in the ordering. We changed our diet, and so we didn't just totally get crazy. But then I had never eaten at Beauty in Essex, and that is one of their brands that they have a few of them around the country. There's one in New York, and I would say it was one of the best meals I've ever had. Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, I'm a bao buns fan.
Yeah.
Lobster bao buns that were just like so. So for those of you who know Bill Bonbrest, who sat in the Huddler seat, kudos to him and his team, because they treated us like royalty, as they do everybody. I'm sure it was just great. So I'm glad to be back here. I missed the huddle. What? Oh yes. Thanks. Shay is reminding me that last night they did the roll call for who gets into the Hall of Fame, and big shout out to Zach Thomas. When Zach Thomas was a rookie, I represented him, Jason Taylor, and Sam Madison, and I think you remember that, Mark.
Of course I do. Yeah. Of course I do.
I remember those days. They were very close to us. They were very close to us. We took them and marketed them in a way they really didn't have any idea. But I will tell you that guy's work ethic was just as amazing. Look who's in the house.
I
dude.
know. Christy Ruiz is here. Kim Kaup is here. Love seeing some names that we don't normally see every single day. So
Kim is in our roll-up music. Kim is in our roll-up music.
She is. Yeah, she is in the Huddle welcome music. One more shout out before we get to the wake up music, which is I will be with Junior Achievement this morning. The first league event is going on, which is the Mentorship Boot Camp. We get around a bunch of these young, aspiring entrepreneurs and help them. And then I will be presenting to them at 10:15 about the art of presentation and how to get your message received. So excited to do that with them today. Let's wake this thing up, and then let's get to the Huddler in the hot seat.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more doctor thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on.
Boom, boom.
Let's go.
By the
So
way, there's something going on Sunday. I think that there's a game that people probably.
I don't know what you're talking about. I got
So you want to introduce the
No, I think let's get the huddle. Let's get the walk up music going. Let's get him on, and then let's let him share his story about how he was introduced to you and the Nudelbergs and what his story is.
Oh yeah, baby. Like a fool, I went and stayed too long. I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Then that time I went and said goodbye. Now I'm back and not ashamed to cry. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours.
Okay, wait. Before we welcome Dave onto the show, Andy Cagnetta is here. And Andy, you need to be on the Huddler hot seat list. You need to be a Friday guest. You need to come get into the seat. So the invitation has been extended to you, Andy. We have to have you on the show.
Here's what's so great. First of all, Andy is the ultimate entrepreneur. I knew him when he first started his business. Now they have 100 or 200 franchises globally. So Dave, when you're ready to sell your business, Andy is the guy you need to talk to.
That is correct.
And next week we have Andy's pasta dinner, which we will be there as a whole family. Kai and Jules and Shay and everybody. It's going to be great.
That's great.
Well,
we're going to talk about franchising. We're going to talk about sauce this morning. That's a perfect parallel. Happy Super Bowl Friday, gentlemen.
Happy Super Bowl Friday, Dave. Welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Thank you for being a huddler in the hot seat. Give us your story. Tell us how you met my dad. Tell us how you got connected to us and how you got to where you are.
I think the biggest challenge is to keep that within like 15 minutes. You know? as I put notes together, I'm going to ask Shay for overtime a few times here. So I consider myself a friend of the family, a friend of the Huddle. I was in my last, my last position at my corporate gig at Worldwide Express. I was in an office one day, and a friend of mine, Brenda Newman, said, I think you need to go kind of check this guy out. He's all over the place. He kind of seems like he's right up our alley. And Steve was nice enough to let me in on a LinkedIn Like a Pro that he was doing down in Fort Lauderdale with, I think, a friend, a college friend's company. Yes. So anyway, I flew down, made it work, and sat in. And frankly, I got hooked. Coincidentally, my career changed a little bit 6 months later and was starting over. And really, it was a fantastic time to sort of look at a different way, a modern approach, right, to prospect and to do sales. And frankly, and I'm not just saying this, I'm such a big believer in bringing the positivity in and moving the negativity out. The whole thing about tell me something good and everything like that is really how I got hooked to obviously meeting Steve and Mark and Jake and Shay and the whole crew. And it's just kind of something I believe in a ton. I
want to dig into that a little bit because I have backstory where I know where you came from with Worldwide Express, which that business was built on a very different, aspect of business development and something that we don't necessarily subscribe to. So coming from that, but also unbelievable discipline to process, unbelievable discipline to detail, and creating culture there.
Yeah.
How did that, the new approach, what we were talking about, what my dad was talking about, and how did you kind of morph from, okay, I can take what worked here and apply this different philosophy and still have success?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to hit on specifically what you're referring to, we grew up as a startup to a certain degree, aggressive franchise business. And I made 50 cold calls a day, either in the Chicago suburbs or Western Michigan, right, as a 25, 26-year-old kid. And then I had to teach others to do it. So then fast forward, right, 15 years or so, right, we're also coming out of COVID. So number one, that doesn't exist. And number two, I hated freaking cold calling anyway, but I had to fake it for the whole time in order to make it work. So restarting at 40 years old, there was no way in hell I was going to do that anyway. And that's kind of where some of the timing comes together. And I realized this is so crazy. It's because as you get older, right, you sort of meet more people and you kind of see how other people do business. And everybody else networks and works on relationship and works on referrals. And so to your point, and answer your question directly, so I started to, connect with people I should have always been connected with on LinkedIn and people I grew up with, people I went to college with, right? Sort of all those things, and really started to go about it that way. And we'll get into the business side too. But as I look up, a year or so later, I have 35 customers and not one of them came from cold calling, right? Like, hello. So, it was something where I didn't necessarily
give me a bang.
Yeah,
Pulls up 3-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good.
Not a one, baby.
Not one. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and again, so it's one of those things where it was sort of out of having no choice, but also great timing, kind of diving into that approach. And for me, it's great because the franchise is national, and that just simply means we can work with anybody anywhere. So a big chunk of the base, of course, is in the Michigan area, but referrals and all the things like that kind of lend itself to having a national business, which is great.
So why don't you, for the sake of the audience that doesn't know you, share what space you're in and what service you're providing? I'm a big believer that you're the product, but at the end of the day, you are providing a value. So share it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am going to answer that question in reverse because there are brands, right? There's the Unishippers brand, the UPS brand, there's all of that. But I really do believe that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And as much as it's a $5 billion company, I want to give you a little bit of my own personal story because I think that's honestly more important. I grew up in the Detroit area, the son of two coaches. My dad was a basketball coach, which, as an idiot teenager was a bit bumpy at times being a coach's son, but it really set the foundation for an amazing relationship after that. And we're getting dinner tonight. We're very close. My mom has been a swim coach forever. Mom, it might be time to retire if you listen to this. I'm kidding. But and even to this day, as I get older and I have to swim because I can't do other things because it hurts my body so much, we still talk and text kind of about little things. And so it was a great kind of upbringing with my parents as mentors from that perspective. Moved on to Western Michigan, had a little bit of fun there, and then started my career in Chicago, right, which is where a lot of 20-somethings in the Midwest do, as far as moving there for a couple of years. I had a group of, we called ourselves the $30,000 millionaires. If you're not familiar with that term, that just means you're very popular on dollar beer night and get to have a lot of fun. So that's where, and then that's kind of where the professional part starts. But to finish the personal piece, I have my daughter's 12. She's 12 going on 20. She sent me a text the other day that said, "Dad, can you please talk to me in Gen Z language? I understand." So I thought that was really interesting.
I don't even know what that is. So
yeah, listen, I do a lot of Googling. I had to Google it. No, I'm kidding. But she actually interns with me in the summer, which is a really, really cool thing where I kind of any call, Zoom, phone, in-person meetings, I have her make 3 questions that she kind of comes with from the meeting. And that set up a really cool dynamic. So excited for that again this summer. My son is 10. He's a competitive little jock that plays every sport that you would think. I just got off my morning FaceTime call with him. He wears a sports jersey every day. Today it's Lamar Jackson. So whatever that means. And then
it means it doesn't matter. Work harder.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. My fiance and best friend has Lisa also has 2 boys who 2 little lovers who call me their Dave, which is pretty cool.
That's cute.
And so we have a very cool. Every other weekend we go from the squad of 6 people and sort of making all that work, to the every other weekend it's just the 2 of us, which is great because it provides this awesome balance in a relationship where those weekends we can relax, have some fun, and kind of plan out how we're gonna approach the world. So I think it's important to share that aspect before you get into the business side.
And now, so share with us what you do. Like, I think people who don't know what Worldwide Express is, you reference Unishippers, your brand, and
Yep.
UPS. Talk to us about, what your professional journey was and what you do. You're an entrepreneur, but you're an entrepreneur in a very unique way. So I think you should talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we started, Worldwide Express started as a franchise company and sort of built that up through the mid 90s into 2015, 16, and it kind of rolled up into a corporate organization. My journey was not very, I'm sure, different than many people listening in terms of sales rep and manager, director, sort of all that. And then when we merged with Unishippers in 2017, kind of the way to go to market is we have a corporate channel, right? A W-2 channel, which is Worldwide Express, right? Official logistics provider of NASCAR and all that good stuff. And then, I think you get to a certain part of your career that you can either get further, the higher you go, the further you get to the door, right? Or the harder it is to kind of keep moving up. And for me, my own COVID transition was just, it made more sense for me to go over to the franchise side. So as much as it's all one company, Unishippers is a collection of, that number was very similar to the gentleman in the beginning, but a collection of 170 different franchises where you might have one individual in your franchise, you might have 10 people, you might have 50, depending on the dynamic. And it's true entrepreneurship, being your own business owner. You start from zero. And even though, to my point earlier, you have the brands, you're really running your own business. And there's really 2 specific things that we do. What makes us unique is that we have this true individual partnership with UPS, where we are really their sales force, an extension of their sales force for small to medium-sized businesses here in the U.S. So we really go after FedEx business, companies that use both. And really, I think the big premise is just that small to medium-sized business that needs shipping help, right? You don't have 100 employees, you don't have a department. That's really where we're great, because we take that $5 billion buying power and really pass it down to the small to medium-sized business. And frankly, one business owner working with another is really where our sweet spot works. So that's the first part about what we do. And then we're also the second largest LTL broker in the United States. LTL just means less than truckload, the stuff that goes on pallets and skids. So that part of our product offering is like your Orbitz or Expedia for freight. So some customers, we do one or the other. Ideal customer, we do both. As many people know, that obviously provides more value when you can offer more than one service to a business.
Dad, you have a question?
Yeah. So, well, there's so much. I mean, I had such a great start to our relationship. It was so, you and I tell people you have to pay attention to your gut. Instinctively, when you meet somebody that you like, it's not about selling them. I mean, I had no idea where our journey would go. You came in, you saw the content, whatever. But what I'm curious, or I want you to share with people is, in this journey, what's the biggest obstacle you faced, and how did you overcome
it? There were a couple. I think the biggest thing is that so you don't wake up on the 1st and the 15th with that direct deposit in your account. And, I hate to say the answer is money, but I mean, here's the thing. My motivator when I was 25 or 30 to kind of go off on my own and shove it up everybody's rear end that I grew up with, because I wanted to do my own thing. And that was my motivation. Well, that's not your motivation at 40. It's totally different, right? It's to kind of provide for your family and set up that kind of next phase of your life. It's just, I think it's very, very different. So honestly, starting over, I haven't received a paycheck, or didn't receive a paycheck since December 31st, 2020, and just started, quote unquote, paying myself a couple months ago. So, it's hard not to answer that question with that as being a big struggle, but no, you don't wake up twice a month with that direct deposit. You have to go do it on your own. And, if that isn't a big obstacle, I don't know what is.
I love it. And that's real, separating, and for me, I've obviously in the latter part of my career, your motivations change, the landscape changes. What I wanted people to get to is recognizing change. You recognized that the playing field changed. You were changing at the same time. Change is inevitable. It happens all the time. Mark had to understand change, to step out of something you did for 14 years, that is so ingrained. To start over feels daunting, but actually starting over was probably the best thing you ever did.
Yeah. And it's that growth mindset, right? It's that understanding. And I'm excited. I'm in conversations about an opportunity to possibly talk to a bunch of veterans who are shifting out of their military careers into civilian life. And I can't, relate completely to that, but I understand the shift, because when you build your identity around something, when you feel like this is who I am and your life revolves around that thing, and then you shift, figuring out who you really are and what really makes you tick, and being willing to do that work is really difficult. So you are an entrepreneur. There's no doubt that you're an entrepreneur. You came through a corporate lens and you came through a corporate track. So how do you define entrepreneurship? What does entrepreneurship really mean to you?
Yeah.
And we'll go to overtime.
There you have it, my friend.
The best part about that is we asked for that 20 minutes ago.
No doubt. We knew it was coming.
Yeah, so I think to me, the big definition, and because I think it's good to get away from the money part. I think the big definition is you can't take credit for other people's success, and then you have nobody to blame for the failure. Yep. Like, to me, that's the biggest difference. And that was my big, I, again, priding myself on not being negative, but I think that was my biggest irritation to my corporate America experience, right? Everybody's trying to make themselves look better. And by doing one of those two things, and it's like, give me a break, right? So I think that's the big thing. It's all on you. And frankly, that might be what I enjoy the most.
Ownership. I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that answer. Dad, you got something else for him?
Yeah, I obviously we can go on all day. There's a zillion questions that you wrote down, but what's the one thing you want the audience to know about you that we probably don't know?
Yeah, I would just say that, life's too short. There's too much garbage out there. There's too many things that can get you down. Don't bring any negativity to the party, right? I mean, and when that's engaging, networking, whatever it is. And look, not to say nobody cares, but I feel like if you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to engage with customers and new individuals and people, bring some light to the party, man. Come in, not to say, tell me something good, but it's not to be corny. It's what really started our relationship. And that's because it's what I truly believe in. When I first heard that, I'm like, thank you, right? Yeah. I'll finish with some hand motions, right? Because the best part about the intro is it's like somebody's doing air. If you've seen that. But I truly believe in it. If you're somebody that is always kind of a downer and always bringing that, I'm probably going to kind of find a way to distance myself from you a little bit. And if that sounds blunt, I'm sorry. It's just what I believe in.
One last question, which I got to ask this question because there's a lot of options in the state of Michigan, right? There's a lot of different places you can go to school. How did you land on Kalamazoo?
Yeah. So my dad actually had the choice of a football and basketball scholarship at Michigan, and went and played 2 sports for a year. He said the scariest moment of his whole life to this day was when he went into Bo Schembechler's office and told him he was quitting football. And now we're really dating ourselves, but that's all right. Yeah. And then he ended up transferring to Western Michigan. And through that transfer, it kind of became our family college. Yeah. He exposed it to us. We used to do our basketball camps where we go to team camp in Kalamazoo. And then my cousins all went there. I have 3 cousins I'm very close with. They're like my brothers because I just have a sister.
You got recruited out of the womb is what happened. got it.
Yeah, exactly. So, awesome. It is what it is, right? It's not the name brand college of Michigan, but it's kind of our family school. And
but it is yours. It is yours. And that's yours.
Like you own that. That's awesome. Great stuff. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for joining the Huddle. Thank you for being a Huddler in the hot seat. A fantastic week of the Huddle. Dad, I was so glad to have you back. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I actually missed hosting with you. Excited to get back to work on Monday to our regularly scheduled programming. So
we will on Monday, we will be talking about the big game Sunday night. So while we're here, got to give me your predictions. Dave, who you picking?
Yeah, I got Fly Eagles Fly 34-21.
Wow. By a big win. I am not betting against a healthy Pat Mahomes. I'm going with the Chiefs with a 31-14 victory. I think they win it handedly. I think the Chiefs defense are the actual differentiator.
And I am going to agree with you. I think Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback ever. He just finds a way to win. So I see a great matchup. I see it 31-30 for the Chiefs.
I love it. Tight game. Have a great weekend.
Apparently, modern medicine.
The grind includes Saturday and Sunday. We will see you guys on Monday. Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.